Bob, and I want to get a sense from you of the response that you're making to the COVID challenge, of the way that this is changing your strategic thinking about where you invest. But as a big tech investor and a company that holds a stake in Tencent, I want to just ask for your response to the strength in the numbers there and the gaming side of things. Does this make you want to put more money into gaming, given that so many people are spending so much of their time gaming at home?
Thanks for the question, and we're obviously very encouraged by the results of Tencent, which I think largely have been received very positively. I think the most important for us as a group is that we're a long-term investor, but also an operator, right? So initially, when we were facing the challenges, we have a big presence in Asia, so we got confronted with the virus early on. And we moved ahead of many others in keeping our people safe, which really has obviously been the number one priority, and keeping our businesses going. But if I look at our long-term strategy, that remains very much unchanged. So we believe in partnering with local great entrepreneurs who take a long-term view on making people's lives better online. And I think particularly the online part is where I'm excited, because if you think long-term like we do, I think the world is going to be more online rather than less. I think business models that basically enable people to interact with each other, with the world on an online basis, will in the end get a boost from this across the board.
Yes, and so we're seeing a boost for some of the sectors that your business has exposure to. Has the outbreak, though, hurt your ability to find new investment opportunities, though, Bob? Does it make it more difficult to meet with businesses, to assess opportunities, or because of the outbreak, are you not really doing that at the moment? Are you focusing on looking after the businesses that you already have?
No, I mean, life has obviously changed a lot for us. We were very, very active travelers. I probably traveled about 200 days a year prior to this. So life is really, really different. But I must say it hasn't changed the way we look at the world around us. So we're always focused on finding great opportunities that have a long-term horizon. These opportunities still exist, and so we haven't changed into opportunistic investing. We still are looking at opportunities that fit our long-term strategy, and that actually will reinforce our core areas of operation. So we're big investors in online food delivery, in online payments, and in online classifieds. And those are the things we're still looking to reinforce over time.
And if we look at a few of those then, on food delivery, there's talk of consolidation in the US sector there. You, of course, made moves in the UK, or tried to make moves in the UK in that space. Do you still have an interest in expanding in that online food delivery space then?
Yeah, we think online food delivery is just a tremendous opportunity. And I think the reality is that the way people consume food and source food is largely been untouched by technology over a long time. But now with food delivery, you see that it really changes for an ever-increasing number of people. This becomes a way to make their life easier, make it better. And we think we're just in the first innings of that. And that's really what we do, right? We try to find that technology is helping people to serve a core need better. And food delivery is an excellent example where we think now there's a certain segment of the population uses these services. I think that segment will grow significantly over time, and people will use it for more occasions. So we're really pretty bullish about that.
And in terms of the classifieds side of your business, what are you looking for in the businesses that you might expand into, or buy into there? Is the US an interesting market for growth for you?
Yeah, so we're not particularly focused on certain geographies, right? We're really focused on particularly look at great entrepreneurs that do execute the business very well locally. We've done that for many decades, and that's been in many ways the source of our success. So we bring a certain level of what we think is helpful expertise, help on topics like AI, and other things that we can accelerate entrepreneurs with. But the core of what we do is look for entrepreneurs that are executing really well in a certain market. And it can really be anywhere in the world. We actually just concluded a combination of our activities with a big classified group in the Middle East and in Southeast Asia. And that was very much in the same line. Like we loved their business models that were very grounded locally, powered by great technology. There are three brother entrepreneurs who run the business, and that's a good example of like great local execution, great team, and exciting markets, which we're looking for.
Bob, can you tell us a bit more about, I mean, in education technology, I've certainly used a lot more online EdTech products in the last few weeks than I've ever used before. I wonder, give us some sense of just what kind of explosive growth we're seeing in that sector and where you might be interested in taking that business.
Yeah, and also we've definitely seen the activity levels go up significantly, almost across the board. And we've done about 6 investments in the EdTech space, and I would say all of them are seeing a lot of interest. We believe, again, it's similar to food, where education historically has been only touched by technology in limited ways. We think that's going to change. And we see it now in sort of the activity levels, but I think it's part of a more structural change where people really need technology, and technology can make upskilling people better structurally throughout their lives. And I think that's a positive. What I've been actually really positively impressed with is how our portfolio companies have also stepped up. For example, Code Academy has offered a lot of free scholarships to, for example, people who've been furloughed, so they can upskill in a time of personal tragedy, but use that time to make their skills better and give them a better chance of finding a better job when this crisis gets more manageable.
As a global internet business, as a global investor, Bob, I'd be really interested to get your take on the shape of the recovery here, the shape of the return to normal, and how long that will take us to get to a sort of new normal.
Yeah, excellent question. I would say my expectation is very much shaped by what we've seen so far, and that is that the impact on different markets is very, very different across the world, depending on the severity of the lockdown, the severity of the outbreak, but also on how systems have been put in place to deal with shocks, and about obviously support measures that have been taken by government. So I'd be surprised if we see the same pattern everywhere. I think we will see. I think in certain markets we can probably see more of a U shape, but I think it could be considerably slower in terms of recovery in other places.
And just finally, Bob, I wanted to get your thoughts on the African response, or the South African response specifically here. I know that you've been contributing to the South African response to prepare for coronavirus. How nervous are you? How concerned are you with the Naspers presence, of course, in South Africa, so extensive? How concerned are you about South Africa and its ability financially and in other ways to cope with this?
Yeah, obviously, in first instance, our concern was with our staff, and I must say, big compliments to the team who worked very, very quickly to protect staff and keep people working from home as much as possible. For those who can't, I think they're being looked after well. So I think relatively comfortable there. Also, been really impressed with the stance and the measures that government have taken. I think decisive, fairly early on. I think the challenge now is going to be twofold. One is the certain measures are going to need to be loosened in the next weeks and months to come, where I think South Africa should look around carefully and use all the data from markets that are doing that now. And I think, for example, things like e-commerce can actually help people to get what they need without creating a tremendous amount of foot traffic of people going to shops, etc. And obviously financially, it will be a challenge. I mean, the country has had a tough time to begin with. But I think when I take a bit of a step away from it, generally a solid response, and we think the right things have been done so far.